I was that far. I used to get taunted at school, and I used to get called
Really.
Fatty Bum Bum, and that's what they used to call me.
I'm laughing with you, not at you, I assure you. But that's a good song title, actually. I think there was a song called that once years ago. Fatty Bum Bum. The thing is, you put these things in my head, and I shall in future feel instinctively I want to call you Fatty Bum Bum, but I'll just have to control that urge, I think. You should never have admitted to that, Emmy. You really shouldn't.
I
I'm
used to
just going
go,
to tell.
yeah, I used to get called Fatty Bum Bum. And I still have a childhood mate that still calls me that. He goes, "Oh, Fatty Bum Bum," and I go, "Oh, you can't call me that. I've lost a lot of weight now."
I mean, you probably were quite upset about it at the time. I should think if people did that.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that actually because during the break time, I was never interested in PE, as you you would imagine. I just love my food, and I love to be left alone and just eat. That's all I wanted. And during the break time, anybody that called me Fatty Bum Bum, I chased them around to school, and
Did you ever did you ever catch them, or were you too fat to run?
too far.
Oh, good job you didn't catch them, really. Tell me this then, would you, if someone at that time, knowing what you know now,
Yeah,
if someone had said, look, Emmy, we think you should have a weight loss jab, would you, knowing what you know now and looking back, would you
yeah.
have given yourself as a younger person that jab?
As a younger person, would I have given myself that job? I would say no, and only one reason springs to mind, and it might not be the reason that it might not be a good enough reason, but it's the reason that springs to mind, and it's the fact that I hated needles as a child, and that's the only reason. If it was in a tablet form, would I take it? If it was like a one-time tablet,
Mm,
I probably would. But if it was a tablet that I had to take over a period of time,
yeah.
say if it's prescribed for like 7 days, I'll probably take it for 2 days and that's it, at most. Because I never, I was always forced to complete my dose of whatever I was prescribed as a child. It
Mm.
was a war just getting me to stick to it. They had to monitor me, and they had to make sure that I actually swallowed it. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so for that reason, I would say it probably wouldn't have worked because I would have
no.
said, yeah. But then, funny enough, bruv, I don't think anybody had a problem with it then. We never, kids would
Mm.
taunt you, and adults would taunt you. And your parents, they never stood up for you. They never said, "Oh, don't call my child fatty or whatever." They was just like, "Oh, what you like," that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was like a welcome taunt or something. Even if I cried, they'd say to me, "Why are you crying?" Nobody's hit you. It's just words. They just,
Mm.
you're far. That sort of it.
But
That's sort of,
it's still bullying, isn't it? That's the thing, and
yeah.
it's one thing for us to look at that now and say, well, it's kids, but at the time, if someone is bullied, it's very uncomfortable, and can cause all sorts of psychological problems.
It can't, yeah. It can't, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so then even being bullied at school then it wasn't that much of a big deal. You get bullied by
No.
other pupils that other students that were say 2 class ahead of you or 3 classes ahead of you, and it was just normal. We just
Mm.
took it. We just took it like, oh yeah, that's your senior. That's it. But back to the topic. I was just thinking. Uh, senior. That's it, you know. But back to the topic. I was just thinking, um, you know, would it have any side effects? Because I know that most of the medications that we take or we consume today
Mm,
has some side effects. You know, it might not be a generalized side effects like
no,
over. You know, it might be like some people might experience different symptoms resulting from, you know, having taken that
yeah,
having taken the medication or what. And I'm just worried about that, for instance. And that I suppose there would be a sort of a deniability as well, because then you know, nobody, the pharmaceutical companies, they're not going to take responsibility for whatever comes,
mm,
you know, comes from it. And I'm just thinking, what's wrong with exercise? You know, what's wrong with, you know, getting the child to exercise and try to get that weight off? But then, like you said, it could be clinical, where,
yeah,
it's required for health reasons. Um, and that's where I kind of sit on the fence, so to say, you know, on that.
yeah,
Because you don't want to encroach into that area, because then you don't know how that person is feeling. You don't know
no,
if it could be life threatening. And as such, I just don't know about that
mm,
area. But I'm just thinking, you know, dealing with, I mean, diet. What about diet? You know, diet can solve it as well. So diet and exercise, as a child, because as an adult, I can understand. You know,
mm,
you live with the consequences, don't you? Because you're an adult. You make your own choices in life, don't you? But as a child, you know, you don't get to make the choices then.
no, no,
And that's where I just looked at it and I thought, well, you know, yeah, it's one of those things anyway. Yeah. So, the next topic is quite an interesting one, Trevor. Quite an interesting one.
yeah.
Would you want to be frozen after you're dead? Would you want to be frozen after
With
you?
a view to coming back to life, is that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question?
yeah. With you to coming back.
Cryogenics, isn't it? Cryogenics, it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah. It's been around for longer than, it's been around for
Mm,
ages, this concept, isn't it? Because even before Michael Jackson died, there was talks about him signing up for it to,
mm.
be frozen. Um, yeah. So would you like to be frozen after you're dead?
Well, I think this time I won't sit on the fence, or I think I would simply say no, I wouldn't. The idea of maybe being brought back to life at some point in the future when it's technically possible to do that.
Yeah,
You presumably may not know anybody. Society, humanity would well have moved on with more evolution and technological differences. I sometimes think um, if you go back 200 years and you could show the people then, a giant A380 aircraft taking off,
yeah,
weighing 576 tons, fully loaded, and you think they'd say, "What? That goes up into the sky and stays there?" They wouldn't believe it. Clearly, technical achievement in humanity is incredible. So the idea of coming back in 100 years or 200 years or 500 years and being fundamentally different to the humans of the time, I